Good morning, all. As you said, my name is Orlando Ward. I'm the Executive Director of External Affairs for Volunteers of America, Los Angeles. We are so excited to be here today to work with all these leaders who have sensed the urgency of the crisis that we're facing. And I can tell you for myself as a formerly homeless individual who spent time on Skid Row and who has worked in this industry for about 20 years, I have never seen this type of unity, this type of standing together with locked arms to get this thing done. So I'm very excited about that. The state has stepped up. The county has stepped up. The city has stepped up. Providers have stepped up. We are focused. We're going to get this done. You know, it reminds me, my son's a college football player, and we speak every morning. And at the end of our conversations, I say, son, don't worry about the bowl games. Don't worry about Saturday afternoon. Get better today. Get better every day. And he's turned it around and started flipping it to me. He says, Dad, I know you're going through some stuff. I know you're working on something that you've been working on for a long time. Don't worry about the end game. Get better every day. And what we have here today, ladies and gentlemen, LA got better today. And we're going to get better tomorrow and the next day. I don't care if it's the weekend. We're going to work through that because the suffering that our unhoused individuals go through doesn't take a day off. That's why we're here today. And with that, I'd like to bring up the Honorable Mayor Karen Bass to talk about how LA is getting better today.
Good morning, everyone. It is definitely my pleasure to be here, and I want to thank my colleagues that are standing side by side with me: Assemblywoman Schiavo, Senator Stern, Senator Menjivar, Assemblywoman Carrillo, Supervisor Horvath, Councilmember Lee. This is what happens when we all stand together. Los Angeles' state delegation is the most powerful in California. And if we join forces like we've joined forces here, we can multiply resources to the area. This is an example of what happens when the whole of government can do what we can do together, the state, the county, and the city united. This is why today we're able to announce that the city of Los Angeles has secured millions in state dollars to bring more people inside who are living on the street and to make more housing available. This is how the city, the county, and the state can work together toward a shared goal. So this was accomplished by our state leaders in spite of the fact that California had a very difficult budget cycle. With no surplus, the legislature and the governor had to make some difficult decisions about funding priorities. I am thankful for this partnership because as we work to identify projects that needed targeted, specific funding to fill gaps and to bring more housing online faster. In addition to these resources, I want to commend the governor and our state leaders for putting more than $3 billion toward housing and homelessness programs, with $1 billion going directly to cities like Los Angeles who are on the front lines of this crisis. Just as we're able to leverage state dollars to purchase home key sites during the pandemic, we continue to build on that progress by funding additional dollars to make improvements across the city. I look forward to continuing the work with the leaders that are here today, as well as our governor, to continue to deliver for the people of Los Angeles and to show what is possible when we work together. Our dollars go further and we can prioritize more people coming inside. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Bass. Next, it's my honor to introduce Assemblywoman Pilar Schiavo. Now, this person has been an advocate for this community for many years, many years. And I think what's important to note, that same energy, that same love for community, she's taken to Sacramento and she's fighting for this community. And I think we're seeing the results. We're seeing results now, and we're very appreciative that you don't forget where you come from and you're fighting for our folks. Assemblywoman, please stay.
Thank you. Thank you, Orlando. I do. I come from here. I live right down the street, actually. So I am really, really excited today, and as Orlando alluded to, this is personal for me. I co-founded an organization right here in this community to address homelessness, and one of the residents here is the first person experiencing homelessness that I met here in our community when we were over fighting for permanent supportive housing right down the street on Topanga. And through that work, I really was able to talk to a lot of people experiencing homelessness. And the number one issue that we hear about is the inability to get permanent housing. And so securing funds at the statewide level to help make sure that this project turns into permanent housing, because I think, people think it's so simple, right? You buy a motel or a hotel, you just turn it into permanent housing, but it's not that simple. There's different safety standards, there's different requirements, and it takes money to do that. And so while this is interim housing right now, we know that it needs to be permanent housing, and we know that there's funds needed to make the safety improvements to allow that to happen. And that's what we fought for in Sacramento. That's what I fought for. And I'm incredibly happy to be partnering with the mayor so that the state and the county and the city are working together in unity to make sure we're solving this problem. We're not just putting Band-Aids on it. And we know that permanent housing is the most important solution to homelessness that we can fight for. And so, this is, I think, the critical investments that we need to see happen to see real change in our communities and sustainable change and fight for the solutions that work. And that's what I'm about in Sacramento. That's what I'm fighting for our own community, for the whole state. And I'm so proud to stand with legislators who have been arm in arm with me at the statewide level and be a part of this fight. And also just, need to give a lot of props to the mayor for the work that she's doing to really treat this like the crisis that it is. We need to take this on in a way that we understand the daily suffering that people are dying every day on the streets, and we need to act like this is a crisis and respond to it in the way that we know that we can, the way that we saw that we could during COVID when people come together and the red tape is removed. And so there's a lot of opportunity to make a difference and really solve this problem, and I'm here for it. That's what I'm here for. That's why I ran. That's why I'm fighting in Sacramento, and I can't wait to see this come to full fruition and also so much more in LA. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblywoman Chiavo. Next, we have Senator Stern, who represents this district as well, and I'm going to let him talk about it.
I'll come say hey. All right, Orlando. I don't live down the street. I live a little further away in Van Nuys, but this is still home. It's still home, and it's going to be home for a lot of other people, too. And this is a blessed day in that regard. A lot of times we have a press conference, and it used to be in the Valley or when you're working on homelessness or housing issues, everyone kind of do their own thing. We might not have this group all behind us united. You got a supervisor on one side, you got a mayor over here, the council member does this, and the state sort of says, you guys figure it out. So Sacramento sleeps then on the Valley and on Los Angeles in general. But this proves that grace and grit work. That you now have a mayor and a supervisor out here who are showing up everywhere, every day. I don't have an army of staff to go figure out where the problems are and what the issues are, but the council member here knows this community like the back of his hand. And the fact that they're now organized and unified, and that all the people you don't see in front of the cameras, behind the cameras, all the staff that are here working overtime and getting it done, and not really caring about like which hat you're wearing or which jurisdiction you're in, but just saying, let's get people off the street today. That is the mission every day, and that has power. So it's very easy for me to go do my job, which is, go knock on the governor's door and put a line item in the budget and say, you need some safety improvements at the Travelodge? We're going to get it done. And that's it. And so it makes my job so easy. And I get to stand here in front of the press conference, say we look good, but you know what? It is hard work, and as I said, it is grace. There's no one trying to outflank each other. This is a cooperative endeavor. So I am so grateful for the humility and just get things done attitude, that Supervisor Horvath has brought to the table now in her new leadership role in this community, and that the mayor's bringing. And, we're all just servants here, right? So God bless you all, and let's get some people housed, right?
Thank you so much. That's inspiring. That's the stuff we need to hear on a regular basis. Next, I want to bring up Supervisor Lindsay Horvath, who represents this district and actually has been a very great partner to us. So we're really excited. Again, locked arms, getting it done.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Another great way to start the day. We're glad to see the kinds of improvements that can happen right here in Chatsworth when everyone works together. And not so long ago, we were just across the street making sure that people got housed, got out of encampments that had been there for far too long, left unattended, and now those people are housed. They are getting permanent, supportive resources from the county funded through Measure H. And now we're here today at the Travelodge, locked with the state, with the city, everybody working together to make sure that all of the funding goes into this building to transform it into that permanent supportive housing that's needed here. And I'm proud to see the community of Chatsworth stepping up in this way, but it shouldn't just be buildings in Chatsworth. We need to have this housing everywhere in Los Angeles, which is why I was proud to start yesterday in East Hollywood, opening Avenida, another project that's 75 units of permanent supportive housing, the first in Project Home Key Round 2 in all of Los Angeles County, right in my district. So 2 mornings in a row, we're happy to see in the 3rd district opening and supporting permanent supportive housing. That is important and key to solving the homelessness crisis. It's not enough to get people off the streets. They have to have the wraparound services and the ability to get into permanent supportive housing so they can stay housed and have a place to be long term. And it wouldn't happen without the partnership of the city and the state coming together with the county. The state funding is going to be transformational for this building. And I want to especially shout out Assemblymember Schiavo, who I know she was talking about this even before she was a candidate. This is something that has been on her heart. And my team was with her last week to be out here on the property to see what's needed, working together to make sure we're checked into all of the details. So there's no finger pointing. There's no, it's your responsibility or it's your responsibility. This is our responsibility, and that's why we're all here this morning. I couldn't be more excited to be working together with the mayor, with the senator, with the assembly member, the councilman, bringing everyone together to make this happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Supervisor. Next, I'm bringing up one of our closest partners. I'm talking Volunteers of America's partners. And, Councilman John Lee has shown courage, has shown leadership, has shown a willingness to think about his constituents through eyes that have compassion and urgency. So it was with great honor and pride that I want to bring up our new partner, John Lee.
Thank you, Orlando. I appreciate that, and I appreciate all the state officials being here today. But I want to say a special thank you to our mayor, Mayor Bass, who on day one said that in order to address this crisis that we have on our streets, all levels of government needed to work together. When I took office, we had 0 beds in Council District 12, and if it wasn't for the efforts of all the different levels of government, we would not be working on our 5th housing site here in Council District 12. We need to also make sure that sites like this are running as efficiently as possible for our communities. Thank you to the state officials for all your work that you've done to help bolster our efforts here in the city of Los Angeles. I want to thank VOA for their partnership over the last couple years and look forward to working with you on our new Home Key site that we will be opening soon. And as the mayor says, we all need to lock arms together in order to address everything that is happening on our streets and help get people housed. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Council Member. Senator Mehevar, I want to thank you for supporting the funding request. so that we can deliver this housing to the people that need it most. Come up and tell us about it.
Good morning, everyone. Senator Caroline Menjivar. The Valley has two wonderful senators, one behind me and me for the rest of the Valley. You heard from the mayor speak in a time of deficit. My colleagues and I stayed true and firm in the needs that we needed to bring down to the San Fernando Valley and the LA County as a whole to combat our crisis that we're dealing with that, which is why I'm so excited and honored to share with you that we secured $500,000 for the Howard Johnson Home Key site in Reseda, the sorority site. And it actually, yes, very excited about that because that's going to allow for LA Family to renovate it, to complete the necessary renovations to ensure that it has 75 completed units of interim housing ready to go for occupancy. And that site is actually important and personal to me. It's walking distance to the house that I grew up in, that I lived in when I was in high school. The very house that I was evicted out of, me and my family. The very house that at 19 years old, we found, when I was 19, not my mom, we found ourselves housing unstable for over a year. So to see a project like this right next to the community that I grew up in, to see that it's going to help the very same people that I used to be a part of is extra special for me. With that, we always talk about the needed investments, but let's also talk about the preventative measures. I'm so excited to share on the state we're bringing down historic funding for childcare, $1.4 billion that is going to virtually eliminate family fees. Why is that connected to housing and homelessness? Well, if you can't afford childcare, then you can't afford to go to work, and if you can't go to work, then you can't afford to pay your rent. So excited to bring down that kind of funding. We have increased CalWorks grants as well to put more money into people's pockets. Additionally, and I know Supervisor Horvath, we need more money, but we're bringing one-time fund of $15 million to get CareCourt funding down to get it started here in LA County. I'm still working on more funding. We'll keep getting more. But these are historic wins that are going to be directly in people's pockets. We got approved for a CalFresh pilot program to increase the amount of funding that we can put into people's cards for food. Because right now, a family of 1 and 2 gets $23 a month. We were able to bring that up to $50 a month. Not enough, but it's a step in the right direction. So, like the mayor and everyone else has mentioned, this is the time where we need to be united, arm in arm. I am so proud to be surrounded by the men and women behind me that are elevating these issues like the importance that they deserve. So thank you so much for everyone's leadership.
Next up, we have Assemblywoman Carrillo, who's along with a partner, National Corps, secured over $500,000 to make this thing work. So let's give her a hand. Let's just talk about it.
Thank you and good morning. I think I won the award for longest travel out to Chatsworth. I've bring greetings from the community of El Sereno, which I'm so proud to represent in Assembly District 52. And as chair of the Assembly Budget Subcommittee 4 on State Administration, the vision that we have for a California for All ensures that our state budget is a reflection of our values, and most importantly, what we do with housing and homelessness dollars is a reflection of society and what we choose to prioritize. I am so proud of the work that we have done to create partnerships necessary across all levels of government to bring solutions to the table that address issues on housing and homelessness. In partnership with Mayor Bass, my office secured an additional $500,000 in our state budget for the renovation and security enhancements at the Huntington Villas in El Sereno that turned a rundown motel into a place where unhoused families and individuals could seek shelter and be safe inside. What started off as an idea of Project Room Key and Project Home Key became a successful model that gets people safely inside as we work on permanent housing solutions. I want to bring it down into the work that we do in the state budget. Since 2019, the state's commitment to this crisis has been unprecedented. We have invested more than $17 billion to aid local governments in addressing homelessness. The 21-22 Budget Act invested a combined $21.5 billion over multiple years to advance the greater ability of housing throughout California. This last budget cycle largely maintains these commitments and includes a housing package of $14.7 billion with an earmarked of $3.5 billion in new funding for homelessness programs and to ensure that folks have an opportunity to live with dignity in their communities. Unas pocas palabras en español. Mi nombre es Wendy Carrillo, orgullosamente represento el Distrito 52 en la Asamblea, que incluye el este de Los Ángeles y el noreste de Los Ángeles. Estoy muy orgullosa de lo que hemos podido hacer a través del presupuesto estatal y especialmente con la alcaldesa Bass. Mi oficina ha asegurado $500,000 en nuestro presupuesto estatal para la renovación y mejoración de Huntington Villas en El Sereno, una comunidad que yo represento, que transformó un motel en mal estado a un lugar donde familias y individuos sin hogar pueden buscar refugio. Lo que comenzó como una idea de proyecto Room Key, el proyecto Home Key, se ha realizado a un modelo nacional para que podamos ayudar a personas sin hogar a estar seguros con sus vidas y con un lugar donde vivir. A través del Estado de California, a través del presupuesto, desde el año 2019, hemos invertido más de 17,000 millones, son billones de dólares, para ayudar a los gobiernos locales a abordar la falta de vivienda. Los actos de presupuesto del año 2021 y 2022 invirtieron un total combinado de 21.5 billones a lo largo de varios años para aumentar la disponibilidad de viviendas a través del Estado. El presupuesto que hemos pasado hace un mes y que ya va a ser firmado por el gobernador mantiene una gran medida de estos compromisos y incluye un paquete de vivienda de 14.7 billones con casi 4 billones designados para nuevos programas para personas sin hogar a través del Estado. Todo esto es posible con la combinación de gobiernos locales, del condado y del Estado. I am so grateful to all of our colleagues in the legislature and the partnerships that we have created with the mayor's office as well as the county and all of our community partners to ensure that we are putting our state dollars to good use and addressing our state and our nation's biggest crisis, but Los Angeles continues to be the epicenter of all of this work, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to join you in Chatsworth and ensure that we continue moving this forward. Thank you so much.
Next, I'd like to ask Assemblywoman Chiavo to come back up and introduce our next speaker.
I mentioned earlier that Trini was one of the first people experiencing homelessness that I met in my community. And so through Project Room Key, he was able to finally be housed here. And I wanted to make sure that he was able to share a little bit about his story. I'll let him tell it. But I know Trini strikes me as one of the people, one of the people with the biggest heart that I've ever met in my life, and so I really appreciate knowing him, and I know he's been working hard to get on his feet, and appreciate the work that he's doing. So, Trini Romero.
Hello, everybody. My name's Trini Romero. I'm homeless. About 16 years ago, I ran into some health problems. That's when I got buried alive by homelessness. I never thought it could happen. You know, I was so high and mighty. Then this happened. Anyways, I want to thank Mayor Bass, Assemblywoman Pilar Chiavo, all our elected city officials, the help of Volunteers of America, for supporting the homeless and keeping this Project Home Key going and keeping me housed, and along with many others. Finding permanent housing is very difficult. There's not enough studios, apartments around to go around. These vouchers in this Section 8 is very difficult too. So hurrying up and finding houses is a unrealistic goal because this takes a lot of time, folks. It might take a lot of money, it might take a lot of workers, but I'm so glad that our government and the state is working together to address this problem and end homelessness and get not just myself but many of us off the street. They too are being buried alive out there. There's no way to get out from underneath it. Since I've secured a room here at Project Home Key Travelodge, along with Volunteers of America, I'm able to breathe a little bit. What a relief. Permanent housing still is off in the distance. I want to thank John Lee. I'm from District 12, born and raised here in District 12. This is truly a miracle, truly a day sent from God. I really want to stay in this community.
You are.
You know, my whole life is here. I just pray to God and thank the city officials and the great state of California and the city of Los Angeles for coming through. It's been a hard, long ride. Thank you very much.
You got that.
That's why we're here.
That's right.
Period. That's why we're here. That's why these leaders have come together. That's why we're standing 10 toes in the ground. And we're facing this thing straight up. I really, really appreciate you opening up for us, brother. I appreciate it so much. As we come to the close, I want to also thank my staff that's running around, VOA staff. Raise your hands up. Give yourselves a pat on the back. You know, the front lines aren't tough, and you acknowledged that when you were talking about that, and I appreciate the dedication that we all give, and we're all in this. We are all in this finally, and that's the hope that we have. We can get it done. There's also somebody else here. Where's John Q? Okay, John Q, John Quash with LADBS. You said at one point we need to streamline these processes.
Yes.
Talk to John. John has been working with us and knocking down walls and clearing out tunnels and making it easier for us to get these rooms open so we can get people off the street. It's that kind of dedication, not just from electeds, not just from providers, but from the departments, from everybody. It's all hands on deck. With that, I'm going to close, and I'm going to say thank you to everybody for standing up for the people that sometimes can't stand up for themselves. Appreciate you all. Oh, great. Good. I like money.
Also brought a really big check. So wanted to present this to the city and VOA. Yeah.
This way?
Yes. Okay. We'll just do it.
Do it like this? I'm going to stand in the middle because I can look over the check.
You're so tall. Yeah.
And
It's all our checks. Who cares, right? That's the point.
yeah, everybody.
It's all our checks. Come on.
Everybody did this.